Welcome back to Building Character, where we figure out how to play as your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons & Dragons. Join the Patreon for this character sheet and a whole bunch more, and like and subscribe so your friends remember you next time you play. Maybe. Today we're building Xion, and hey, if you haven't played Kingdom Hearts, she's kinda hard to explain. Basically, she's a puppet made out of the main character's memories because they want to control the main character and have his zombie body form, but are worried that the zombie body will get free to do its own thing, so Xion is option number 3 for them, but is actually member 14 in the Organization XIII, and is the fake Organization XIII that was created by the zombie body half of the main villain. I want to say she's Pinocchio with lasers, but Pinocchio canonically exists in Kingdom Hearts, so I can't do that.
Don't you forget about me.
Let's start off with our goals for this build. First, we need to take out Heartless. That's sort of what you were made to do. Next, we need lasers. So many lasers, specifically pillars of light. Those are more fun. Finally, we've got to heal. Sometimes your keyblade broken, and that's understandable, but you need something so your friends can still have a nice day. Y'all like that McFlurry meme? For stats, we'll be using the standard point array from the player's handbook. Roll for stats if you want, just keep your multiclassing minimums in mind. Charisma will be number 1. If your friends are your power, you need to make friends first. Dexterity next. You're fast enough to keep up with Roxas, and he's really fast. Actually, you're fast enough to be an end boss for Roxas. That's even faster. Strength after that. Jumping requires strength in D&D, and you hop around like Tigger, who is also canonically in this universe. Follow that up with Wisdom. The cult that built you can't have you getting duped by anyone else. I love that Tigger is in the same game series where the main villain is a cult. Constitution is a bit low. You're kind of a glass cannon and will dump intelligence. If you're a copy of Sora's memories, you're as smart as Sora, and that is not smart. For your background, I bet y'all are thinking I'm going Variant Human or Costume Lineage if you're not familiar with the games, but if you are, Warforged makes a lot of sense. Get +2 Constitution, +1 to Charisma. If Charisma is what you want, that's what I want. You get Constructed Resilience, so you don't need to eat, drink, breathe, or sleep. Instead, you can take a sentry's rest, staying alert but unmoving for 4 hours. Just enough time to catch up on the lore of one of the games. Your Integrated Protection lets you wear armor without wearing armor by merging with armor and giving you +1 to your AC, so nobody can remove that armor. I think you could also make it more or less visible with flavor, popping into that wild armor form if you want. You get a skill of your choice. We'll grab Arcana and then take the athlete background for athletics and acrobatics, giving you all the physicality you need. We'll kick things off as a paladin, giving you 2 skills from the paladin list, like medicine and persuasion for better healing and to convince your best friend to murder you. Tigger is also in these games. The main reason to start here is the armor proficiency, merging with something medium, and you'll have an 18-ish AC without actually having to look like you're wearing anything but a cool black robe. Paladins get divine sense, letting you sense fiends, undead, and celestials within 60 feet of you at amount of times equal to your charisma modifier, helping you find the heartless in the area. Lay on hands lets you heal a creature from a pool of healing equal to 5 times your paladin level in hit points. That's a basic cure since we're going to get a lot more healing abilities. Second level paladins can get even more healing abilities from spells like Cure Wounds. That heals 1d8 plus your wisdom modifier as an action to a creature you touch. It's the most basic healing spell you can get. Divine Favor lets you add a d4 of radiant damage to your weapon attacks for up to a minute depending on your concentration, putting some more light in your already light weapon. Speaking of light weapons, you can also just Divine Smite, which isn't a spell, but it uses a spell slot. That adds 2d8 extra radiant damage to a weapon attack, and an extra d8 per spell level you add, and a free extra d8 if you're hitting a fiend or undead. I'd probably put Heartless in that category. They really hate the light. To just fight better in general before you add lasers to your swords, dueling adds 2 to the damage of a weapon attack when you're wielding it one-handed. A scimitar or a rapier would work great for Xion's Keyblade. Third level paladins can choose a Sacred Oath, and Oath of the Watchers protect the world from extraplanar entities or slay them to create a giant moon for their evil dads. You can channel divinity once per short rest to do one of 2 things. Watcher's Will lets you give a number of creatures equal to your charisma modifier advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws for a minute. Currently, that's Roxas, Axel, and Fugix. That's Goofy's nobody, of course. Abjure the Extraplanar forces a wisdom saving throw on aberrations, celestials, fae, or fiends, forcing them to dash away with their action for a minute if they fail, but you don't want Heartless running away. You want to kill them to turn them into a moon for your evil dads. 4th level paladins get an ability score improvement. We'll start off with charisma. I think there's an instinct to invest mostly in physical stats as a paladin, but high charisma early can be pretty fun, especially since Watcher paladins get fun 2nd level spells at the 5th level, like Moonbeam, which creates a 5-foot radius, 40-foot high cylinder of light, forcing a constitution saving throw on creatures inside, dealing 2d10 radiant damage to those that fail, half as much to those that succeed. You can move it on your turn as well to chase people down, and not even give them a gosh darn minute to heal. That spell is free as a Watcher paladin, but you can also grab some more spells of your choice. Magic Weapon will give you your own Keyblade, making a weapon magical and Paladin, giving a +1 to attack and damage rolls for an hour depending on your concentration. Extra attack will make you better at using that weapon, with 2 attacks with your action instead of 1 to smack some baddies up. 6th level Paladins can really take advantage of higher charisma with Aura of Protection, letting your allies within 10 feet of you add your charisma modifier to their saving throws, which means your friends are going to do better when they're close to you. It also means you no longer have any negative modifiers to your saving throws. Since you're kind of a clone of a protagonist, you gotta be a little good at everything. 7th level Watcher Paladins get Aura of the Sentinel, letting your allies within 10 feet of you add your proficiency bonus to their initiative. Considering the Sea Salt trio are all dexterity based, you're gonna be the fastest trio in the business. 8th level Paladins get another ability score improvement, which means that we can cap off our charisma modifier before we start grabbing more casting abilities. We'll do that by becoming a Holy Soli, also known as a Divine Soul Sorcerer if you're wrong, which are sorcerers that can learn cleric spells. For your cantrips, Light creates a light to help you see in the dark with your bad Warforged eyes. Guidance and Resistance let creatures add a d4 to ability checks or saving throws respectively, making your friends even more consistent. Sacred Flame is a nice at-will light blast, dealing 2d8 radiant damage to a creature that fails a dexterity saving throw, and you can ignore cover, so there's no hiding from the light. For your first level spells, Guiding Bolt fires a ranged spell attack that deals 4d6 radiant damage, and the next person attacking that target has advantage on their attack. Once again, you work best with a team. Healing Word heals 1d4 plus your charisma modifier to a creature within 30 feet of you as a bonus action for faster and more distant healing. Since you're multi-classing spellcasters, check page 165 of the player's handbook to figure out how many spells you have at any given level, and be sure to use some of those higher level slots for some superior smites. Finally, you're favored by the gods, letting you add 2d4 to a failed attack roll or saving throw once per long rest, making sure that you're always winning. Winning fights? Not at life. Your life is sad. 2nd level sorcerers get a Font of Magic, letting you recover spell slots with sorcery points for a bit more healing every day, or lasers or defense with a spell like Shield of Faith, which adds 2 to a creature's AC for up to 10 minutes depending on your concentration. So if you merge with some heavy armor, that means you can put your AC to 20 and you don't have to worry about getting hit as much. 3rd level sorcerers get Metamagic, letting you augment your spells with sorcery points. Careful Spell lets you give a number of creatures equal to your charisma modifier an automatic pass against spells you cast, so the moon won't hurt Axel. It's kind of dating him. That wouldn't make sense. Quickened Spell lets you cast a spell that normally takes an action as a bonus action, getting some of your buffs going a little bit faster. For this level spell, Spiritual Weapon creates a floating spectral weapon that you can use to make melee spell attacks. As a bonus action, they deal 1d8 plus your charisma modifier per hit. This is how we're going to do strike raids rather than officially yeeting your Keyblade. 4th level sorcerers get another ability score improvement. Let's start working on your dexterity modifier. You don't have to use strength as a paladin. There really aren't any other benefits to it other than fitting into heavy armor. For this level spell, Warding Bond lets you give a creature +1 to their AC and saving throws and resistance to all damage for an hour, though you'll take the damage they do. It can hurt to see your friends get hurt, but this should make them get hurt less. 5th level sorcerers can learn 3rd level spells, and if you just grab cleric spells, then you should have just rolled up a cleric. So let's grab something from the sorcerer list. Fly lets a creature fly for up to 10 minutes depending on your concentration if you want to go into a boss fight with giant wings, where you're the boss that's being fought. 6th level Divine Soul sorcerers get Empowered Healing, letting you spend a sorcery point to re-roll a healing die of a creature who's getting healed within 5 feet of you, making sure your friends don't die. You're the only one who dies. Mass Healing Word is Bigger Healing for up to 6 creatures, 1d4 plus your charisma modifier, which is great if the rest of the party is rolling death saving throws. This gets them all standing up. 7th level sorcerers get 4th level spells. Death Ward makes a creature immune to death for 8 hours, 1 time. Instead of hitting 0 HP, they'll hit 1 HP, giving you more time to heal them once more. That's a Kingdom Hearts build. 8th level sorcerers get another ability score improvement. Keep pushing that dexterity modifier up to get the most out of your light weapons. For this level spell, Freedom of Movement makes a creature immune to being slowed down, difficult terrain, restraint, or paralyzation. Those aren't things you need to worry about anymore. You can even break out of shackles with 5 feet of movement, almost like you have a giant key to set you free. 9th level sorcerers can learn 5th level spells. Dawn is a much bigger pillar of light. It's a 30-foot radius, 40-foot high cylinder of light, dealing 4d10 radiant damage to those that fail a constitution saving throw inside, half as much to those that succeed. Like your other pillars of light, you can move this with a bonus action on your turns for up to a minute depending on your concentration. 10th level sorcerers get another metamagic option. Heightened Spell gives a creature disadvantage on saving throws against a spell you cast, making sure that you're fully cooking people with your light blasts. For a light or light weapon, Holy Weapon adds 2d8 radiant damage to the attacks of a weapon for up to an hour depending on your concentration. You can also end the spell early to force a constitution saving throw on creatures in a 30-foot radius, dealing 4d8 radiant damage to those that fail and blinding them for a minute. It's basically an auto smite. Doesn't that sound fun? Oh, and you can still spend spell slots to add an actual smite if you'd rather double smite. 11th level sorcerers can learn 6th level spells like Sunbeam, forcing a constitution saving throw on creatures in a 60-foot line, dealing 6d8 radiant damage to those that fail, half as much to those that succeed, and you blind a creature that fails for a round as well. You can fire this laser off every round for a minute, giving you more opportunities to light up the world with murder. Our capstone is the 12th level of sorcerer, letting you cap off your dexterity modifier, so you're just as good at swinging your Keyblade as you are shooting spells out of it. Now that we've hit level 20, let's figure out how viable this build is. First, you're a great friend with huge boosts to your ally saving throws and plenty of healing and buffing spells to help them out as well. You're also great at pumping out radiant damage, big spells, and smites to use that holy power. Finally, dexterity and charisma are just great skills, probably the two most regularly useful ability scores in the game. Having them both capped off is very useful. For weaknesses, you're not great at intelligence checks, almost like your organization is keeping you in the metaphorical and literal dark. You're also really dependent on radiant damage, so fighting Celestials could be an issue. Finally, strength is just a better investment as a paladin. You can use bigger swords and wear heavier armor, but then you can't do backflips, and backflips are cool. So is spamming lasers and keeping your friends alive. So with all these skills, you're not going to be forgotten easily, I hope. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe for more. We make 2 videos every week. Join the Patreon for this character sheet and a whole bunch more, and sub to Tulok and Mango for more Tulok fun.